What's up, traders? Zach here from the Trading Network. Hope you guys have had a good weekend. It is Sunday night, and it is time for yet another weekly market profile forecast. We are going to start off this time with some NQ session profiles. Then we'll check out the NQ weekly. Same thing with ES session profiles, and then the ES weekly profiles. And we will discuss some major inflection points moving forward into the week and some areas of interest that we hopefully can take some high probability trades at. So without any further ado, what I'm looking at here is going to be pretty short and sweet as far as the session profile goes, unless I were to load some more information. But really, the weekly is going to show us the way this evening. So you can see that we are, of course, trading at the highest levels that we have over the last, week and a half or so since the beginning of September, the end of August. And what I'm going to be looking at first and foremost, if we are going to be looking at this session profile, are Friday's highs at 12,613. Now, if we can get acceptance and remain above those levels, then we are very likely to be moving up into some more important or higher weighted weekly levels. First weekly level I'm going to be looking at is basically 12,700. That is the weekly high from the weekly profile from July 18th. Next level above that, I'm going to be looking at if we can get acceptance above last week's high, which is Friday's high, of course, is 12,767. Now, 12,767 is the weekly high. I'm sorry, it is the value area high from the week of July 25th. And that is right under, you can see weekly lows from the first week of August. And then we've got another value area low, actually, from the weekly profile of August 22nd. So most important levels to the upside are first and foremost getting acceptance above last week's and the prior week's highs. So we have two highs stacking up here on weekly profiles right around 12,610. So I'm looking for acceptance above 12,610 most importantly, which should get us move into 12,700 or increase the probability significantly of us getting these moves into 12,700, 12,767, 12,820, and then 867. And of course, we have a naked weekly POC from 2 weeks ago at 12,907.50 to be precise. So that is what I am looking at on the upside, right? If we can get acceptance above those weekly highs, prior weekly highs from the last 2 weeks, really this naked POC about 300 points above the most recent weekly highs is where I will be looking at for a longer move, but we have, these levels to work on getting up to there. So on the downside for NQ, it is going to be pretty obvious if you guys have been, watching these weekly forecasts for a while, or even just the last couple, you kind of start to understand the pattern and the areas that I'm looking at and the if-then scenarios, if you will, in regards to if we hold above this, then we're likely to visit this, and this, etc. And if we cannot, then we are looking at some major downside levels. First major downside levels I would be looking at is 12,557 if we can't get acceptance above 12,610. If we lose 12,557 from a weekly perspective, going to be looking at this prior naked POC at 12,427, and you can see that is also lining up to the tick almost with the value area high from the week of August 29th, so just a couple weeks ago. Now, if we lose 12,427, we have this 265 area that I'm going to be looking at. Obviously, 307 is an interesting area as well that we will likely see some reaction at. But you can see that we have last week's POC, which is also the monthly volume composite point of control, right? So there's some good confluence there that if we cannot get accepted above these areas, if we lose this, 557, 560 to 610 range, I'm going to be looking at 427, 307, and then 265. So, of course, if we lose those levels, we've got some recent or relatively recent lower levels that we're going to be looking at, 12,202, 12,137, and then 12,047 to the downside. So that is kind of where I'm looking at moving into the beginning of the week here. Obviously, we had a really bullish end to the week, so it's going to be interesting to see if we get continuation or see if we get rejection and we move back down to tap these lower levels. Now, with that said, I would be leaning more upside because we do have this naked POC, but of course, that's, just some speculation on my end, and we have to take it one level at a time and see what the market gives us. Now, very, very similar situation on ES here, as you guys can see. Most importantly, going to be looking at or looking for acceptance above the highs from Friday. We are right here at the highs, just a couple points above it currently as I am recording this video. We are currently operating at 4,079. Friday's high is 47.25, and that is, of course, going to be the weekly high as well. So if we lose this on a session profile level, look for a test of last week's value area high or the Friday value area high at 40.70. And then if we can't hold that, very likely a value area rotation down to 40.50 to test value area low from Friday. And, you can see that we have just 5 points lower than Friday's value area low. We have the overnight high from Thursday into Friday. So if we lose that, very likely we go down, test Friday's low. And we do have a lower naked POC here on the session profile, and I will point that out as well on NQ as well, just a reminder. So if we don't get acceptance above Friday's highs and we start to lose these levels, just in general, look for a tap of these lower session naked POCs. So 39.84 is the naked POC on ES, and on NQ it's 12.247. All right, so let us just pop on over to the ES weekly, and you guys can see very, very similar situation, just sitting right at last week's high, a little bit above the prior week's high. And we do have our naked POC on the weekly a little bit closer than NQ, to be fair. So that is going to be something to keep an eye on. You can see that we are also at a prior weekly low, the August 1st weekly profile low at 4,080. So if we can move and hold above this level, that is, prior support turn resistance. So we are going to need to move above that level, get acceptance, and that's going to significantly increase the probability of us going up and testing this 41.3275 naked POC on ES. On the downside, a very similar situation. If we cannot get acceptance above these levels, we could draw a little zone here between 40.64 and 40.77. If we lose this on a larger scale, I'm going to be looking for about a 50-point move down to test the weekly low from the August 22nd weekly profile. If we lose that, very likely into 40.13, and if we lose that, very likely a test of last week's value area high at 39.96. And if we break that, we've got 39.68, and then very likely down to a weekly value area rotation around 39.13. And we've got these levels from last week as well. Our POC all the way down at 39.06. So that is something interesting to keep in mind as well. The most price action or the most trading activity took place at around the lows, right? So you can see that there was obviously buying around this level because we ended the week at the highs, right? So that's something to keep in mind. A lot of times you'll see the POCs kind of shifted, and that will give you a little bit of a look ahead. So you can see, just as an example here, POC was all the way at the bottom here, and the next week got a nice push up. Now, if the POC is in the middle of the weekly profile, especially if there are some less prints in that weekly profile, then that increases the probability of us moving down and filling in those single prints or lower printed areas, if you will. Now, one thing that I will point out is that we do have some single prints on the weekly here, and that is an area that we will be looking at, of course, if we cannot get acceptance. So just to be very clear here, you can see how, just move this up a little bit, we basically have a gap. So there's not a lot of trading activity in this area in the regular trading hours. And on the weekly, that means that there was not enough trading to print even a single letter there, right? So if we can't hold this area, I'll be looking for, at the very least, a move down to 40.13, and we will watch reaction there. So just to kind of sum things up for you guys, on the upside, going to be looking at this 40.80 level is important. But again, we're really looking at this as a zone that we need to move and hold and get acceptance above. Acceptance above 40.80, call it, is going to significantly increase our move up to 41.3275. And if we get acceptance above that, I'll be looking at 41.44, 41.70, and then into these prior high levels. Value area high from the August 22nd weekly profile, and then the high from that same week at 42.0625. On the downside, 40.27, 40.13, 39.96, and then very likely into these lower levels here as well if these don't hold. But as always, one level at a time. Do not get ahead of yourself. Knowing that all of these levels are present and that they're likely to get tested, don't get a bias one way or the other until we go to those levels and actually test them. It's very important to wait to see what the price does at these levels. Use your candlestick charts, use your momentum oscillators, your fib pivots, your VWAP levels if you have the trading network indicator package, and those will give you the high probability setups at these levels regardless of how price reacts to them. Regardless of if this level breaks, we're going to have some high probability trade opportunity. And same thing here. If this gets acceptance above, we're going to very likely have high probability trade opportunity for a break and retest or a move, a trending move up into these naked POCs. So just to recap quickly on NQ to the upside, I am looking for acceptance above last week's highs around 12,610. If we get that acceptance, very likely we get a test of 12,700. A move above that would likely get us to 767, 820, 867, and then of course we have that naked POC, and we could even draw a little zone between the value area low and that naked POC at 12,907. So as always, I want to thank you guys very much for being a part of the trading network and taking the time to watch this content. If you do like what you see, I would greatly appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions about anything I have discussed or any of the products, please drop some comments down below and we will help any way we can. A couple things that I want to mention before we wrap up here is that we are now offering one-day free trials to members to come in, check out our live streams, check out the Discord, and if you guys enjoy it, you can obviously purchase access. So with that, if you guys are interested in having a one-day free trial in our Discord, watching our live streams and participating, please feel free to email info@thetradingnetwork.io and our team will get you set up with a 24-hour pass to the Discord. If you guys want to learn more about our products, including the TTN proprietary indicator package, the fundamentals of futures trading, one-on-one mentorship, or of course, access to our private Discord, you can learn more at thetradingnetwork.io. And for a limited time, for about another week or so, you can use the code TTN2K in all caps to get 20% off the indicators, Discord access, as well as the fundamentals of futures trading course. Another thing I want to mention is Apex is extending their 80% off sale for their funded accounts. That is all funded accounts until, I believe, midnight on September 14th. So you have about another 3 days or so to go ahead and take advantage of that. And the code is The Trading Network, no spaces. And you guys can also find a link down below to access that discount. Thank you guys, as always, for being a part of the Trading Network, for taking the time to watch this content. And I will see you in the next video. Much love.